Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to show you an elevated version of the watercolor trend. The watercolor technique is using 613, which is very blonde hair, and dipping it into a solution that is made out of warm water and semi-permanent hair color. I want to show you how to do the ombre because it's an elevated look that is very fast but gives you depth and dimension, which I really love in hair. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Stay tuned. I'd like to quickly do a run through of the watercolor technique just for anyone who hasn't already seen a video on this. So basically what we're doing is removing all of our hair out of the packaging so that we don't have to work against the clock. The warm water does cool off, so before you put the boiling water into the pot, just a note to take is to add a little water in there so that it doesn't burn you. You don't want your water to be extremely hot, but you definitely want it warm enough that it causes the hair to absorb the pigment. So don't pay attention to how dark the watercolor can get. As long as you've seen the swatch where you're purchasing your hair color, that is the color that you're going to get, and depending on how pigmented you want your hair to be is how you will determine how much color you're going to put into your water. So right now I'm just doing a basic watercolor on my closure in 3 bundles, and as you see, it's literally just dipping it into the solution multiple times to get full coverage. Take note here that I am mixing the color into the water when I add it. You don't want to dip your hair into water with color that isn't mixed, or you're going to end up with spots on your hair, and that is not the trend, at least not now. Here I am adding more hot water in preparation to change the root color of all of these bundles in closure to create the ombre. Typically the watercolor method is very short, but because we're doing something very unique and special and pushing it to the limit, it requires a little bit more patience and technique. Basically, we're dipping the roots of the bundle into the water, and we've already We've already toned our ends with the color that we want it to be. This could have been blue, purple, green, orange, it doesn't matter. I chose to go with a color called Ginger by Tintations, and I am doing the roots with a color called Cajun Spice, I believe. Yes. And so that's how we ended up with this two-tone magnifique. So you want to just drop it in at various levels so that that line is very smooth, because that's the magic of ombre. You don't want any of the lines. That's the difference between a dip dye and an ombre. Even though this is the dip dye method, we're doing a dip dye ombre, and it's going to require seamlessness. Okay? And when you're finished with the bundle, bring all that color back into your bowl or whatever you're using, because you need to keep as much product as possible so that it can go into the pigment can absorb into the other bundles. You don't want to be wasteful with your product. Okay. So from here we have a very seamless blend out. Very different contrast, 2 very different colors. All right, bundle number 2. Closure is finished. This is bundle number 2. And we're gonna do the same thing. So far, this is what we have, but I just wanna take that color down a little further so it's not so blonde at the end of this tutorial. I want a nice contrast. I want the ends, because they're such a different color than the roots, to just complement, to just give it a little flair. But I don't want this wig to end up being mostly blonde with some red roots, mostly ginger with some Cajun spice roots. I'm afraid that this water has gotten in my gloves, and I'm gonna have Cajun spice nails. But prayerfully, I can get an appointment at the 10 before Friday, because that's my dad's birthday party, and I can't be walking around looking crazy. Actually, I want to take it just to about here. That's where the longest piece is colored, so I just want to take that a little higher up. The water's cooling off, so it's a little bit more forgiving, so I can let that sit a little bit longer. You have to keep in mind the finished product. So it's not enough to simply dip dye some bundles and expect the hope for the best. You have to really think about placement. These are my longer bundles that are going on the bottom, so I'm gonna have that much blonde hanging off the bottom of my wig unless I take that color further down. So just keep in mind, like honestly, it's not a whole lot of pressure. Don't overthink it. A lot of this stuff is very easy. Until your wig falls into the water. Burn. But because the water is weak, it didn't really take, thank God. So in fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and set this to the side. Rinse it off. Those ends are beautiful. I'm gonna just, let me rearrange this bundle here so you can see it. It's so important to like work as neat as you possibly can so that you can see how your color is going to lay. Now see, we got some really, really red roots, but generally that's blonde. So I still want that to come down more. So I'm going to just let that sit in this water. I almost want to just drop the whole thing in the water, but I don't. So what I'm going to do is take these, compare them, and just have a little dipping party. Alright, and that's the end of this video. Stay tuned to see the wig in completion.